would never open up a restaurant.
Too much work.
Too much reasons. All right. So part of the review teaser as well. So you have been exposed to the certain types of real estate. I want to close with retail, and I want to use retail in a different way. Retail, how it's actually, here is the word typology done, how it's categorized by size. Yeah? There's a difference between a little public neighborhood shopping center around the corner from your house. Yeah? Because you have one magnet and multiple other different sizes, but you typically that one supermarket is that grocer. Versus Sawgrass Mill, as an example. Yeah? One is I swing by for 5 to 10, get milk and wine and steak, and the other one is I know I'm going to be lost in this building for at least an hour. Literally getting lost. Particularly if you drop off friends and tell them I'll pick you up in 4 hours. They get lost. So we'll come back to this when we talk a little bit more details about retail. I want you to understand that density matters. You already here now see how many miles as part of distance we serve a purpose. Did have a quick conversation about how far would you travel for a loaf of bread versus a heart transplant. These are the service centers that deliver the loaf of bread versus the heart transplant. Sounds really odd, the comparison, but this is one wonderful mental bridge to remember that. Different goods have different ranges and thresholds. Therefore, I will have different willingness to travel and to access them. Same thing here. We can then say you have power centers, outlet centers, regional centers, and a super regional mall. If I look at the idea of shopping centers and the evolution of shopping centers, and take a look at how they actually developed over time, I can clearly see that certain land uses did follow residential development. Retail used to follow the roofs. You build enough subdivisions out there, at some point you will see some other land uses and functions come. In economic-based theory or regional economic indicators, we are talking about what are the multiplier effects. As in, how many thousand people do you need for a barber shop to make sure that that barber shop will stay in place over time? How many thousands of people living there, people working there, will you need to maintain that Starbucks, that restaurant, that tax service consultant that helps you with your accounting taxes? So there are certain amount of people you need for certain functions. Again, daily bread of loaf versus heart transplant or luxury car. Works as well with human services. My example I use is fashion, clipping hair versus a tax accountant. Different people, different draw areas. A lawyer, different draw area. Your land use lawyer will have a different reach for you, a different working area, just let's say Broward County, versus the guy who's managing or the gal who's managing your divorce. Depending on the state you are in, there are different rules for that. They might be able to do this all of Florida, not just one county. All right, shopping centers typology. Power centers, big box basement, that's square footage, 200,000 to 1 million square footage. Regional draw, outlet centers. We did have that in Europe as a part of an interesting concept. Can you think about outlet centers or power centers in the US? Regional experiences? Any idea?
Walmart.
Walmart, I would count. Yeah, large anchors even here. What else?
Nike outlet.
What?
Nike outlet.
Nike outlet, yeah. All those brand outlets. You also could say, you know what, how large is actually the IKEA we have in Sunrise? Huh? Because they have a different draw. Because I keep saying it's a lifestyle center, not just a furniture store. So yeah, we have actually a different experience to get to this place. How many IKEAs do we have in 3 hours drive time?
3 hours. 3 hours drive time?
Not in Miami.
There's one in Orlando as well, that's 3 hours away.
I did not know that we have an IKEA in Orlando. Sounds
Yes.
like a field trip. All right. Why would there be 3 IKEAs within about 3.5 or 3 hours drive time?
One in every popularized city, I guess. So like, there's one down here, there's one in Miami, one in Orlando. Yeah, most popular cities.
There's enough purchasing power available. People are attracted enough to those products that will drive that far to make this as a trip. I had friends who did like an 8 or 9 hour trip to get the kitchen cabinets because that was the closest IKEA back then for them. But I wouldn't, let's say, I wouldn't drive to an IKEA in Orlando. Sunrise is 10-15 minutes away. Wouldn't drive necessarily down to in Miami unless I really want to have those kitchen cabinets, because that's different than from the kitchen knife. You know? Different levels of goods, different draw. You know? However, so IKEA to IKEA is maybe not the best example unless you are within and you make a decision where you would go. My first experience with IKEA in the US was which way are we going because of sales tax. Because the IKEA in Maryland had different sales tax than the IKEA in Philly. Well, my friend basically said, who drove us, was like, we're going to Philly. You know? Different experience. So, and then we have super regional malls and really, really crazy. This is 2 million cross-leased area. Large department stores, multiple magnets, hundreds of acres of parking, dense urban area. And I put this up. Granted, I'm not 100% correct right now with the numbers. Any idea what this is? Have you heard about this?
Yeah, they're gonna build it right here.
Oh, the Mall of America.
The American Dream Mall.
Yeah. So, this is about last year's numbers. $4 billion investment, 3.5 million square foot. Yeah. 1.2 million square foot of fun stuff. Dealing with traffic impact issues, modes of transportation. They're talking about 70,000 trips added to the vicinity in logistics and transportation. They said back then 15,000 employees, but yet about 60% below $25,000 annually. Yeah. So where would you put housing in place for this? Yeah. What are the market potentials? We start talking then. What's the drive time from this again? How far is this drawing? They are putting theme parks in a water park in this place. Luxury hotel. Yeah. So think about the scale of that. 3.5 million square foot. Yeah. Then the question is, if you put this not downtown, if you put that on 75 and Turnpike, I think it was. If you put this out there, what's its drawing power from other locations and try them out? This is a threat for Aventura Mall. With an hour drive time, it's nothing. No? Miami, hour? It's like a piece of cake. It's like walking around the neighborhood if you have the right car. You know? So I have not followed completely this whole story about it, but it's very interesting how actually it will change over time. And you can see how all these anchors are placed here around the theme parks as well. So even if you don't go there shopping, you come there for the experience. This is like Disneyland. You travel 3.5 hours to go and have the Disney experience.
Yep.
24/7. Every day, park grand opening. When we did take a look at this, I looked up, there was a discussion about a indoor ski area.
Is this with mosquito?
Yeah, I think so. Fishing center, sports center, ice rink. Within the hour drive time, 2.9% of the population are actually skiing. Yeah? You can draw people from more than 3 or 4 hours from Naples to come skiing there. That's the only skiing facility. Where would they stay? Well, there are hotels right next to it. Think about this, you fly in for a cruise. Instead of Sunday morning at 9 a.m., Miami port, you're taking a shuttle and you stay 2 more days here to do shopping and chill out before you hop on a plane back to Michigan. That means if it's, let's say, Minnesota as an example, equally cold, but Minnesota is famous for the big American mall in Minneapolis. Yeah, Mall of America. So I'm not going there on the weekend. I'm doing a week-long cruise in Miami and I go shopping here. So connecting those trips is a huge potential for the existing industry already. All right. What else? Again, teaser. Not doing much on hotels in this class. Can refer to literature if it interests you. Huh? What type of hotels do you know?
What type?
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean by type? So like
Like all-inclusive
the
type of thing?
brands or the like.
What's the difference between a Hyatt and a Marriott?
Between which ones?
The brand?
Hyatt and a Marriott.
Marriott's more expensive than Hyatt.
Depends on the location. What else? What kind of hotels do you know?
The service?
Service is different. Is every hotel delivering breakfast?
No.
No. Room service?
No.
24/7 food?
No.
In-house kitchen?
Definitely no.
Only if it's an extended stay.
Or if it's in Orlando near any of the
In-house kitchen as in you have folks in the kitchen making your food.
Oh.
Kitchenette, kitchen would be extended stay.
Sorry.
All right. So if you go to the Embassy Suites, you will have a small kitchenette. You will have a fridge. You will have definitely one larger suite room with a really big TV. Yeah? And you have probably 1 or 2 bedrooms in there too. Huh? Well, you probably drop $400 or $500 a night, happy hour included. Huh? I got that for free once in my life. Yeah? Grad students times. However, by price, location, amenities, and services. That means it's a complete different animal from what we are looking at when we do apartments. If you look for apartments, if you move away from campus, you look for what? How close it is, what's your price, it's a safe neighborhood, is your Starbucks or Dunkin' close by in walking distance? Yeah? Do you hang out in the evenings in the same neighborhood or do you have to commute? Simplify life. Huh? Here comes even the niche products. What type of service do you have? What type of hotel it is? There's an different understanding of a Margaritaville versus a Hyatt or Wyndham or a Holiday Inn. And they're all little new boutique versions of it. Yeah? And it changes from $40 to $500 a night on the cheap side. Yeah? Yeah, and also inside the building. Do you get ocean view? Do you get the view downtown city? Do you see the next tower to it? Yeah? Which floor you're at? It's a change. My recent conference travel, I asked for a room change because when I open up that thing, the curtains, second floor, people from the sidewalk across the street waved me. I'm like, I might want to have something different. Huh? The travel agent model obsolete, I put that in here because if you want to go travel for a Packers game, are you going to call your travel agent for a hotel? What do?
Look at myself.
Book yourself. How?
Looking online.
Looking online. A complete different delivery function now. Huh? And then you have like websites like Trivago, comparing, blah, 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 blah. Huh? Hotel market as real estate? Very interesting. Location, 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 price, age, theme. Hotels in Orlando, if they're part of Walt Disney or part of Universal, they all have different themes and amenities. Free shuttle buses, as long as the park is open. Yeah? Simple thing, makes a difference. $10 parking at the hotel versus don't know what you paid during the day at Universal. Yeah? Makes a difference. Versus this one. First time I got exposed to, I was told this is a $10,000 night. And that's REE. Anyone knows who that is? Everyone knows which building it is.
Yeah,
Paradise Island, Bahamas. Alright, Nassau, New Providence. Yeah? You did okay in the store. This is way more south from Freeport. Yeah? Interesting story, actually, we have a company here in town, EDSA Plan, landscape architectural firm, design firm. They built that. They got contracted for it as a walk-in, as in, hey, I'm in town, would like to talk to you guys about hotel development, can you draft something? So they designed all of this, the buildings itself, work with people and for the park and all that. But yeah, those guys are really cool. By the way, you are on a master planned university campus, same company who did that. Yeah? They're doing projects worldwide. Kona Gray, a principal partner of that firm, is coming to my land use class in 21st, so in 2 weeks, and gives a presentation about EDSA. So I can recommend, hey, hop on the YouTube channel and take a look at this presentation. Fantastic, mind-blowing work they do from scratch on paper with pads and all that, and then brainstorming, teamwork, and all that. Okay, that said, this is a teaser for you guys. We're doing this with economics in the fabric. Alright, that is about the review and the new stuff on real estate types we had for today. Alright, cool. Alright. Okay. Honest answer. Have you done the readings for this week? She knows what I'm talking about there. Alright. So if you have not done the readings for tonight, I urge you guys, enjoy the visual and the talk, and then do the readings and say, hey, this is exactly what he meant with this. Get the deja vu effect in a different way. I call it a historical review. Our textbook talks about, in roughly 3 chapters, it talks about first settlers, railroad, land management. Railroad is dominant for change in transportation. Yeah? I skipped that chapter. It's not on the reading list. Yeah? That's part of history. What I want to point out is I'll present the theories and ideas that grew in Europe and got manifested here. Remember, it's land, labor, and capital. And those are the thriving forces of real estate development and how we can encounter and conquer space over time. Yeah? land as in resources as well. If you look at the development stories of, let's say, Africa, colonial power, let's make the stereotype, colonial power lands somewhere, typically maybe at a river mouth, manifests in terms of development, and then they explore going up the river and the coastline. And that's how big towns start to spread out. So if you look at historic development, you will actually see that. On that note, I did not get that link tonight. I will send you guys this. There's actually very cool Google Earth and similar to Google Earth web pages that actually show historical elements. Or I might be able to find it during the break. So what I want to do is, in our text, there are significant highlights and milestones of development. And yes, they are 50, maybe 100 years old. They still apply today. When we say location, 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 we're talking about walkability versus the 2-hour commute down to downtown Miami in rush hour. Those are transportation features that determine my value, how I appreciate or not appreciate my quality of life. A colleague who I hired from living in Plantation, Florida to Boise, Idaho, used to work for FAU. His commute from 45 minutes in the car turned into 5 minutes bicycle ride. He dropped 30 pounds in a year. Just because of the patterns change in daily commute and quality of life. Instead of a sandwich in the car, you actually sit at home and eat a salad. So keep that in mind. It's, I pulled pictures and maps from all over the world. Most of them are referenced. If they are referenced, I did them. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. All right, residential types, we had this. I thought this is a repeat. Can jump on this one. I call this how to understand real estate markets and its development over time. And this is coming more from market analysis. If it's feasible and financially feasible. Again, does it make sense to build 5,000 square foot homes in downtown Fort Lauderdale? Probably not. You might want to consider condominium tower. Your market feasibility should have told you that. Okay? Ready? When we talk about density, we talk about a few folks and some name dropping. There is this idea of urban renewal and smart growth. Emily Taylor at some point came in with, as part of her publication here, Urban Design Reclaimed, and some of the justification, that's the American Planning Association Journal. So you can see 7 years difference, but the patterns and illustration and the understanding of density is the same. The urban core with increasing density will have different lifestyles, different vibrant neighborhoods. The color version down here is way more easier to understand. This looks cool. I can do this for vacation, but I really would like to live here. Maybe Las Olas down there. Believe it or not, this is Las Olas. And that's the islands. Or the fingers, I call them. So, the other way around is gonna do an architectural drawing, but to understand actually how density looks like. That's the American dream. Single family home, detached, white picket fence. Half an acre, 10 acres, depending on which region you're in. This is where the kids come to the neighbors and play. This is a different setup. You may not even yet Florida townhomes. This is Florida townhomes concept. And then we go through all the variations of apartment complexes into high rises and towers. I think this is a very interesting schematic, as in next time you walk around, 1 dwelling unit per acre, 4.4 dwelling units from an acre. A different perception of density. All right, again, I like this one, because it presents this whole thing in a different perception. So, great plan, Cincinnati versus Meridian, Idaho. Well, good question. Which one is what? Let's look at this and take a look at the picture. What do you see? Describe it.
This is not
Are they
structured.
con-
Pick one. Start describing.
they're townhouses,
The one on the right is definitely like full of no?
So you said the one on the right is a typical suburban neighborhood. It is a suburban neighborhood. Yeah.
I can identify you. Like,
What's this?
that. It could also
You
be.
can't really tell with blurry.
All right. Yeah. Well, it's taken from the airplane. So if I look at this, they seem very large. Even if it's blurry, you can see the big, tall houses. Look at the size of the driveways. Those are multiple car-sized driveways. Setback from the street. Yeah. If you live here, this is your driveway. Assuming this is the connecting road for the next large road.
Wait, redo that again?
If you live here, all of that is your driveway to get out of your subdivision to the connecting road.
Oh, these are separate. Oh, oh.
Those are separate single-family homes. In it's probably one large subdivision. But think about this: you live here, you have friends here, kids want to come over to play. You might actually drive them, because there's probably no walking available on this one. Very carefully, you look. It's blurry, but yeah, this looks actually like a driveway. Can you see the white line here? That looks like a sidewalk or bicycle thing, but not all over the place. So this is Cincinnati, west of Cincinnati, about 5 to 6 miles out from downtown. This is when you fly into Covington Airport. I do a lot, pictures flying over. Hey, look, click, 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 lecture for class. That one to the right is Google Earth. Meridian, Idaho. That subdivision, if I remember right, was built before 2008. Cheap land, cheaper houses, people accepted the commute to Boise, Idaho. 20-minute commute. AKA, gas price is low, I can commute. $4 a gallon or $5 a gallon, it's gotta be expensive to commute. Huh? That versus Boise, Idaho, $100,000 in pricing back then. 50 to 100,000, depending on what you want. This is semi-arid, semi-desert area. This is gonna be really great. There's no trees and nothing that cools you down. Alright? Game hasn't started yet, Andrew.
Nope.
Don't have to check your cell phone for that. Alright, planning context. Let's talk about this first picture on the left. I want you to start observing. What do you see? Top left picture.
Shopping complex on the bottom.
Top left, top left.
Oh, apartments.
So I have this one blown up. This one.
Apartments, maybe like office spaces somewhere.
Yeah? What do you think of this red thing? What's the red thing?
It could be a
Grandfather.
bookstore. It could be like a regular rent store.
Probably grandfathered in. Or someone didn't want to sell.
Right.
I don't know the story about this, but this is when you walk the National Mall 2 or 3 blocks north of the National Mall in DC. At some random street corner, you look around, it's like, oh look, they're doing something with this, they're rehabbing this place. Oh man, look at this. Someone did not agree with the development to the left and to the right. And there are multiples you can find like this in large cities. I would have to look for it. This is before iPhone. This is digital camera still. Would look for that on an old hard disk. I have this one similar like this. Think a corner lot, and right at the corner is a small Chinese restaurant that apparently did not want to sell. or didn't want to make a deal with them. Yeah? So the whole developer built around that, 4 floors higher than the existing building right next to it. Yeah? Next one is a little bit blurry to see. Let's switch off the light maybe. Better? Way better. Better?
Off it.
Don't fall asleep. And make loud noises and wake you up. Okay. Someone who's very quiet today. Let's say young man in the last row, Alex. Tell me what you see.
Looks like the corner of maybe an intersection. There's a looks like residential, and then it looks like there's shops on the bottom floor, like walking along that strip that the people are walking to.
Yeah, somewhat shops or the back end of the shops. Yeah. What else do you see? Yes.
A fence on the top, so sort of.
Some fencing on the top. Can't remember if that was part of the building or is it part of rehab. Yeah. What else do you guys see? Ollie.
You can see it must be in a city because people are walking around, it looks like.
Yeah. Any other hints? What's going on with that? Yes, please.
It must be in Europe because of the car.
Must be in Europe because of the car. Okay, we have 2 cars, actually 3. What else? Yes, it's in Europe.
It's a big white thing.
Which one?
That's a Renault Kangoo.
That's facade.
Is
My
that
dad
part
used
of
to have one in his office.
Yeah, it's the same one building. I don't know what's behind it. What else do you see?
Wait, they have shops?
The balconies.
They have balconies. Okay.
They have shops?
Shops. Yeah, this is a pop-up shop.
It's from 2005.
It's from 2005. It was a very, very cold day. This person has a down jacket on. Really, really cold day. Yeah? What else? What else do you see? Satellite dish. All right, 2005, 14 years ago, Euro, satellite dish. What is that a hint for? You guys have been quiet today. Think about it. Satellite dish, 14 years ago, European city. Rental apartments. One person has an idea. Anyone else? Come on. What's the...
No, I don't remember anyone. And as soon as it came to me, I lost that idea.
All
There
right.
was something on the views on like.
So this is a picture taken in East Berlin. Yeah? East Berlin, West Berlin, West. West Berlin, based on the...
Is that sign like a thing for advertising?
This is actually advertisement, yeah. This tells you 1 to 4 bedrooms, apartments. This is the phone number you have to call. Yeah. But I want to point out in terms of how to read pictures, satellite dishes. How to read pictures. If you travel, how to observe. Yeah. There is an extreme likelihood that the residents of this building have a different cultural or ethnic background than a typical person in Berlin. You will see this when you look at old pictures in Rotterdam and Amsterdam, because the ethnic populations of these areas might not have had cable channels in the cable provider, and they went through the dish network to get their original language. 20 years ago, was Eurovision part of cable? Probably not, I don't know, honestly, but I would think probably not. So how would you get Spanish-speaking channels if not with a satellite dish? How would you get Turkish or Greek channels? without a satellite dish, if it's not fed into the local TV system that you get in that building or not. Yeah? Turkish population in Berlin was still is probably the largest Turkish population outside of Turkey. Urban population. Yeah? Concept we call Gastarbeiter, as immigrant workers come in, stay here, do some work. They started sending money back, all brought family in their third, fourth generation. There are issues with this, but there are also great opportunities. Yeah? Again, this is a classic example for if you walk downtown in a foreign city, unknown city to you, take a look what's up in the second and third floor. Lessons learned from this exercise: you will never walk in Las Olas anymore just looking to the left and to the right. You'll also look up. We did have this conversation about electric meters, don't you? Did we? Electric meters? If you walk around the neighborhood and you take a look, don't do this too much depending on the neighborhood. You take a look on how many doorbells you have. You can't count that anymore. If you want to know how many apartments or units are in a building. There are different ways to find out. You take a look at the post box, count the mailboxes. Huh? You can't, in modern buildings, you don't really know that anymore because they have the keypad. There are not anymore 40 different doorbells with names on it. Huh? But you could walk around the corner and check how many electric meters they have if it's open for display. Simple trick. It works in urban and rural America, not in high density downtown. But the moment that daily, look around. You wonder if this is 8 or 20 units? Take a look at the electric infrastructure. Super simple. Or the mailbox. Assuming every unit in this development has a box you can open up. So you find those 3 different locations and boom, you know, 150 units. Simple things to find the conclusion. Yeah, January 2005 was a fun trip. All right, historic ideas and places and visions. Ready? Ask me questions in between. Yeah? I have a few slides I must show, and there's a lot of fun stuff in between. To say, hey, I've never been exposed to that idea. Oh, wait, textbook is like gray pictures. Now this is actually a live example. All right, I skipped a few slides, but I want to point out 2 examples. The classic idea of the city. The classic idea of the city is the right to govern. Yeah, even in medieval ages, the right of governing, it's the city-state. Yeah? The right to mint coin, making money, and the right to tax. Yeah? So, interesting concept. Then you can see here the Sumerian city, this is thousands of years. Yeah? They have the elite in the middle, maybe places of worship. Then you have a wall around this as a protective ring, and then an outside wall. It's almost like Game of Thrones. Big tower city, tower throne in there, and then you have the outer city, and then here at the gate you have dragons ready to fire. Just gotta make this amusing a little bit. On the other side, you have here a city. You guys probably know this one. Places of worship, pyramids, aligned star patterns, and you might have seen this as well. Very long celebration, a celebration mile, long stretch. Champs-Élysées as an example in Paris for that. Freiheitsmeile in Berlin. We have the awesome statue, and then to the Reichstag. It's a long stretch of celebration route. You could say the National Mall in DC is similar, because you have certain highlights, like would be the Capitol, Washington, and then the Potomac. Yeah? But we'll see. All right. I put the names down there, so if you want to play with Google, you can find them. It's Germany. You're Julie's home of high school. Alright, so how to read Google Maps a little bit. So, apparently we have here infrastructure. We have a river, we have a small port or harbor, and we have a lot of fussy things, really tiny roads, a lot of one-way streets. But here, look, remember that stretch I was talking about? There's a structure here, that's a city tower from the city walls. And this is one of the largest Roman Catholic cathedrals in Europe, or in Germany, actually number 3, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Give you an idea, normal human people, pedestrian zone, that is the cathedral you're looking at. 1040 or 1050 was the groundbreaking for this one. The city is noted in the Roman Empire as a fort. Yeah, they did the 2000th anniversary a few years ago. So there's some age to that. Imagine this is 1,000-year-old sandstone. Not all of it because it burned down a few times, but massive. Different city. And I present these because they're all a little close by, different epoch of history, different era. This is 1606. That's roughly 600 years after the cathedral was started to get built. And different fortification. This is this concept of the citadel, where you can see again walls coming. This is a river. There's another river, and the wall system changed in this kind of arced out system. Why would it change in 1606? Any idea? In the early 1600s, what was the weapon of choice?
Sword.
Sword? What else?
Cannon.
Cannon. How easy can you move cannons around? Not very. That's the reason why they built this and basically said, well, we can shoot this way, we can shoot this way, different angles to cover that. A plank straight wall would be not able to shoot into angles and cover different terrain. So they built this and basically said, well, different defensive structures and functions in place. Little bridge here, nothing here but water. About 90 years later, the defensive function was not necessary anymore. That is when we talk about the age of enlightenment. Remember, guys are starting to talk about philosophy, and the French guys are not anymore at war. Germany is unified with its all little kingdoms in between, and they actually changed this. They kept the pattern of the quadrants, but moved the defensive structure into more a Renaissance pleasure castle. This is the time when Louis XIV, Louis XIV, French king, Louis XIV, his castle of Versailles with all the mirrors and all this fun stuff, and the guillotine at the end. That's about this, roughly. I might be off by a few 50 years, but it is the building epoch that comes in. Then, this is rather recent. You can see still here the Schloss, the castle setup. Now you can actually see infrastructure. This is a railroad station. And what was in the beginning just here, a water feature, is now completely structured as a port. It kept its quadrant system, infrastructure changed a little bit. This is the city a year ago. Railroad station. This is the castle, which is now a university. If you want to study business, this is one of the universities in Germany you want to go for. You can see all those quadrants and courtyards, like donuts. different concept Europe has versus the US. And fun fact, those are still funny numbers in terms of, you can see the old structure, the park, and going out. And you see that ring system from before. Yeah? Fun fact, they are numbering like in DC. This is like K, and K2. This is literally your address, 120 K2. Like Chase Street or F Street in DC. Yes, please.
No, sorry.
Also, that's just a stretch. Again, you're looking at 300-400 years on change, but history and evolution of urban space was persistent. Yeah? You can see original structure. So next few slides, that's actually
Same size?
that's actually just the Schloss here. That's the castle here. Drive-by shooting in the evening. Like literally drive-by shooting, red light, click, 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 and then go.
Oh.
Yeah. So this is literally think here, literally here the car. I'm standing literally here and going up on this road going south. Yeah. So drive-by shooting. Evening hours, so the light wasn't really great. Drive-by shooting backwards. Kept that in because we have a mini chapter on streetcars. Yeah? But again, this is a high traffic route with a streetcar, and I thought I'd give you the impression on what's downtown look like. Give you an idea. The downtown picture is about this area here.
That's downtown.
Yeah. That's the downtown area. That's the water tower feature, you can see in the back. Pedestrian zone all over the place. This is Saturday, if I remember right. The only thing that bothers you is a streetcar with a bicycle ring, 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 ring.
So it's impossible that you have a car, a bike, or anything like that?
You don't need a car. You're walking all over the place. Yeah? There's public transportation. There are buses around the corner as well. There are cars offset. So you have parking structures and all that, but let's say that stretch is pedestrian zone, but the next around the corner there's the next street with parking structures and shopping as well. Yeah? Well, I thought it's different because this is the story about the castle, but then it's like, whoa, I can spend a whole day there. Huh? There's coffee shops and restaurants. Summer day. Yeah, very overcast. It's a cold area compared to Florida. But I thought I'd give you the idea. Lessons learned. Any satellite dishes here? No. First floor retail. This is a department store. Yeah, first floor retail, retail. And then, you don't see this here, but once in a while you have a kind of a small hidden door. 6 apartments on top. Yeah? Okay, let's run this a little bit. Udine, Italy. So we went here, to give you an idea, this is Frankfurt, we went to Mannheim, we're flying over to the border of Slovenia and Italy. This is Venice, this is still Italy. The reason why I present this is because it's this fortified structure, that star structure again, here, war-borne system, they call that. Yeah? But this is actually current. They kept that structure. They kept this whole environment of the historical town and its plaza and the stars. This is fast movement in between a city. If I have military here, I need to go this way, whoop, I'm over there. Same thing, Paris. Paris got rebuilt for military purposes. All these wide, beautiful streets, celebration and military movement. Huh? Everyone talks about Germany and how awesome the Autobahn is. Oh, transport of any goods you want. Yeah? And in the late 30s and early 40s, military function was part of this. Our interstate system that came in place was inspired by this. Logistics. Yeah? With the side effect of what? What was enabling, what did the interstate system enable? Come, we're talking about residential development here tonight. Suburbia. You come back from World War II, transportation policies are putting infrastructure in place. You get actually housing loans with the GI bills and GI programs, yeah, for your small little white picket fence home. Yeah. You're able to enter suburbia and commute. We're going to take a look at streetcar suburbia first, and then we look at individual cars tonight. Huge factor. Then you realize transportation cost is easy. The cars are even more relaxing with me. I don't mind to commute an hour again. Boom. Now you live in Parkland. If you draw here from a region expand. What's going on the internet? You're like looking in your phone like the last 2 or 3 minutes. Everything okay at home? Yeah. All right, fine. Packers game on? Any scores yet? Don't look, we take a break for that.
Yeah, I don't know, I'm not watching.
Yeah, we're going to take a look at that. That's the one we have to break for. Huh? Give me a moment. Huh? We might end up actually early tonight, so that's the plan. Again, keep this in mind, the resilience of historical structure. You don't have that when we talk about land unit development. You don't have that when we talk about young developments. What's considered young in the US?
Great question.
Great question. How old is the city of Weston?
Great question.
Yeah. So,
How old is the city of Weston? How old is
we would have to look that up.
5 years.
But I actually have seen Florida in an atlas book in the 1970s.
It was established in
Florida's
1996.
an infant.
1996, city of Weston.
96?
Yeah. I've seen maps of Florida where a candle and a corral is green, is dairy farm. So temporal scale is important. All right. Turin, Italy. Very quick, same pattern. Old historical structure, defensive function, plaza, connecting plaza, and fun stuff. Fun stuff. Plaza, connecting plaza, going down, fun stuff is gone, this is a rail station. The park is gone, it's development. Low density, high density. All the defensive structure is gone. Depending on the nature, on the culture, on the identity, how we create places, it changed. All right, another example from Germany. The reason why you need to see this very shortly is because they built stuff with geometry. All the red arrows are the idea of line of sight and the geometric midpoint, as in this is the center. They also, in this case, then said, well, if this is the castle, and these are the supporting buildings, and then the city around it, 1826, this is the center. The reason why we have seen stuff like this before is Louis XIV in France, l'État c'est moi, the state I am. Yeah? He was the center of the universe during his era. He built stuff like this exactly like that. If you look at, it could be Versailles. Yeah? Again, these sun ray bursting stars here is for hunting. You could sit here and then get and see if you can see some deer or not. Yeah? Different structure. This is today. We put a soccer stadium in there. Part of this is a university, but still castle, park structures, and the city around grew.
Park structures?
Park structures.
That
Park.
was vacant land?
Park, yeah. Nature. Park, as in go there, hang out, have rock concerts there and all that. Get a blanket, picnic. Like what we say, let's go to the beach. And get a cooler. Huh? All right, what's next? 5-minute break.
you know, all like the ads and stuff like that to start it up.
Do you like Harmon's?
Do you root for a team at all? Not really.
My philosophy is if I live in a town that has a team, I'm part of that. If not,
Do you follow any
So the
sports?
Dolphins or?
I would go for Dolphins, tailgate again, but not for them.
Okay, you know.
The way she said ew.